So if you do those three things, like, what happens? You're like,
Then you can assume that your request for forgiveness is sincere. Then, inshallah, you can assume you're forgiven. Right? There is a caveat, like on point number 4. If you commit a sin against someone else, you may have to fix something. Right? And that's a big maybe. So if I break Omer's window, right, I might have to pay for the window. However, if I backbite Omar, it might be better not to tell him, right, and pray for him.
What if you do something like you steal from someone or something like that?
Okay, so the principle being that Allah Ta'ala may not forgive me if the victim doesn't forgive me. If it's a sin against Allah Ta'ala.
Ask for forgiveness before going to the hajj.
Sorry?
You get those emails before people
Yeah.
asking.
Do you ever get tempted to say, no, I'll forgive you. You come to my house, you had biryani with me, and I'll forgive you. Yeah, because you're under no obligation to forgive, right? And then you can even put terms on the forgiveness.
Wow, really?
Yeah. There's that famous story of the guy who, he ate like an apple from another man's orchard. Then he goes to the man and he says, I ate this apple from your orchard. Can you forgive me? And the man says something like, you have to work for me for 8 years. Okay.
And then he marries his
And then he says, oh yeah, it wouldn't be his wife. So then he says, okay. And if you do that, if you do it for another 2 years, in the variation of the story, then I'll marry you off to my daughter. Okay. But the catch is my daughter has no eyes, no ears, no hands, no feet. Okay. And the guy's like, this is what it's going to take for forgiveness? It's like, okay, right? So it works for him for 8 years, and then does the additional 2. And then the man is, he marries him off to her, the daughter, and then he meets the daughter, and then this like beautiful woman stands up. He's like, huh? You know, your dad said all these things about you, and he said that because he never let me see haram, he never let me hear haram, he never let me go to a haram place, he never let me do any haram. And that's what that meant, right? But why did the man choose him? Because this guy was so scrupulous that he was even apologizing for an apple. And who was that person's grandson? Yeah, he was the grandfather of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani. Yeah. Yeah. But that's true. It's a pretty cool story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, watch your apples. Yeah. But this is something that was so weird. That short period of time where I was in Egypt, you know, I'd leave a pencil, and then, you know, someone who brought the pencil, they'd give it back to me. Whoa, this is a pencil, right? We don't care about pencils in America. Like, this person even like gave it back to me, like, you know, with this respectful way, and people kept doing it the whole time. Sorry?
Like, it's like as if it's like
Yeah, exactly. I thought maybe, you know, this is just like this little plastic thing. Yeah.
literally there's like I can find like 1,000 pencils on the
Yeah.
desk.
Exactly, right. So there is something admirable about that level of
Musa
scrupulous.
Islam's story is like that too,
Yeah,
right?
it
Where he
really
goes
is.
to Madian and he finds
Yeah, there is, yeah.
and the story where he basically he says, you know, work for me for so many hajjaj,
Yeah,
and then you know I'll marry you, and then at the end of it, it's actually I guess it was the first proposal to a man from a woman before, because she actually picks him out beforehand.
But
It's
does
her
she?
father.
Doesn't he like help her and stuff?
He
yeah.
helps
It's,
her.
it's these two girls that he's helping
Yeah.
her get the water. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and he like
But,
throws
like,
the
yeah.
rock.
She kind of like, hey,
Like-
come meet my dad, kind of
something
thing.
like
Oh, right, yeah. I come for some
Like-
chai. And
Someone threw like a rock, and then like that's the direction they wanted to go in or something.
I don't know.
No, there was a story like that.
Okay, so continuing these people in Ayah 89. وَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمُ الْكِتَابُ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ Oh, this is not cool. مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا مَعَهُمْ So whenever there comes to them, or when there came to them, a book from Allah confirming what is with them. Now, confirming what is with them, read this both ways. Their book is confirming the Quran and the Prophet, peace be upon him. The Quran and the Prophet, peace be upon him, are confirming the truth of their book. Okay. وَكَانُوا مِن قَبْلُ يَسْتَفْتِحُونَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا And on top of that, before that, they used to ask Allah, they used to seek victory over the Kafirs. Okay. فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمْ مَا عَرَفُوا كَفَرُوا. And when something came to them that they recognized, they rejected it. Okay. I'll put this in simple English. كَفَرُوا بِهِ. فَلَعْنَةُ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ. And again, the curse of Allah on the kafirs. So here's what's going on. The people of Medina are praying to Allah for victory over the kafirs. So what does Allah Ta'ala give them? The Quran and the Prophet, peace be upon him. Good. And they're like, this is not what we want. We want victory. Good. But the Quran and the Prophet was going to give them victory. Good. So have you ever prayed for something and when you got it, you didn't want it? That's what's going on here. Good. Or you prayed for something and you know what you got is answering your prayer and it's good for you, but that's just not what you want. I want victory. I don't want a book. Good. That's what's taking place here. Yes?
Isn't that what you said like a few weeks ago? Because I'm still thinking about it. Like, didn't you say like if you pray for something and it comes in a form that you don't want, just keep praying for the other thing?
Okay.
Because it's a lost problem.
Yeah, but what did they do? They rejected.
Oh.
Yeah. So accept what Allah Ta'ala is giving you, but keep praying for what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but they're being given, here's the map on how you're going to have victory over the kafirs. Good. Is what did the Prophet get, peace be upon him? Complete conquest of Arabia. Good. That's the map that they were given, but no, they didn't want it. Why didn't they want it? What our excuse was, well, he's Arab, he's not one of us. Right? I didn't get this the way that I wanted. So think about this when you are making dua to Allah Ta'ala. We made the point that you have the prayer of your heart and the prayer of your tongue. And you may even get what you are asking for and see that you are getting what you ask for, and yet that's what you don't want. This is the peculiarity about human nature. Am I being too abstract? Or do you guys feel like you're getting what I'm saying? Prayer of the heart, prayer of the tongue. Can we talk about this? Yeah. Okay. Some of these have probably heard it like a billion times. But I'm running late from work. So I'm praying to Allah, give me to work on time. So Nadia, why do I want to get to work on time?
So you don't get in trouble.
Okay, so the prayer of my tongue is get me to work on time. Closer to my heart is don't let me get in trouble at work. So suppose I arrived late at work, but I didn't get in trouble. Was my prayer answered?
Yeah.
Prayer of my tongue was not, prayer of my heart was. Why don't I want to get in trouble? Yeah, so suppose I arrive late and I get in trouble, but I don't lose my job. Was my prayer answered? Prayer of my heart was answered. So the point is, as you go deeper and deeper, you see what you really want. The prayer of your heart is always answered. Okay? But it may not be the way your tongue is asking for it.
Can we assume that when we pray for something that whatever else Allah gives us is the best thing for us? Because, like, I guess what I'm saying is, say you pray for something, and should you be afraid when you pray for something? What if it's bad for you and you actually get it?
Well, going back to when the followers of Moses said, okay, we're getting tired of one food, give us herbs and lentils and cucumbers and everything. And Moses, peace be upon him, says, are you asking for going from what was better to what was worse? Because what did they pray for? They're praying for they're saying, we want all these, these veggies. But what else are they praying for? They're praying for a life of agriculture to get those veggies. So the point is that when you're praying for something, you're also, whether or not you realize it, you're praying for everything that goes along with it.
But can't you just pray for like ease?
So pray to Allah Ta'ala to make it easy for you. Yeah. Oh Allah, please give me this and please make it easy. Make sense? But here are people who prayed for something, they got it, and they still didn't want it. And so what is the response? The curse of Allah upon them. I feel bad that you're coming on the day that all these ayahs are about the curse of Allah. There are happier ayahs. Yeah. So that's the point, that you pray for something, and then it might also be good to pray to be grateful for whatever Allah Ta'ala gives you. So what is at the core? Evil is what they've sold their souls for. Bitsa mashtara'u bihi anfusahum. And then what? That they should deny what Allah Ta'ala has sent down. Why? Baghyan. Baghyan is essentially envy or rivalry.
What ayah are you on?
This is 90.
Okay.
So the point being that what is it that prevents me from turning to Allah and accepting what Allah Ta'ala gives me? Even sometimes is a sense of envy and rivalry with other people. What do you think? What would be an example of something like that? Here, the envy is that Allah Ta'ala would send His grace on whomever of His servants He should please. Why did they reject the Prophet, peace be upon him? What was one of the excuses? He's an Arab, he's not one of us. Good. And so these people did not like that Allah Ta'ala was giving His bounty onto an Arab.
So they were Medina, they're from Iraq?
These are Jews of Medina.
You're talking about the Jews of Medina.
Yeah, who were essentially immigrants going back 2 or 3 generations.
Yeah.
So, what is part of my belief in Allah Ta'ala? And this can be harder than we might realize, that Allah Ta'ala can give His grace to anyone He wants. Grace can be material wealth. He can give it to whomever He wills, and He doesn't owe me a reason for it. Or He can give Iman to whomever He wills, and He doesn't have to give anyone, especially me, a reason for it. So suppose you're someone, you try and try, you do all you're supposed to do, right? And then you have this other person who lived a life of luxury and extravagance and haram, and then that person becomes Muslim, right? On the one hand, in our culture, we'd be really excited, yeah, especially if they're white and they're celebrities, right? Yeah. On the other hand, you might think, well, they have a clean slate, and now, at a later age, they become Muslim. And they had this whole life of fun, whereas me, my whole life, I've had to work and work and work. Right? That's not fair. Well, I mean, it's not going to be unfair. He's not going to take away any of my reward. But the point is that He has full authority to give to whomever He pleases. Right?
Does that mean, what does that mean? That He has, I understand the ayah, but I don't understand the correlation between that that story, and that...
That ayah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why did you say that whole story of, both people or whatever, and Allah has right to give to whomever He wills? Does that mean that the person who committed all those sins suddenly has a clean slate, they got more?
Does it seem like it's unfair? Let's take it a step further.
I don't know. Obviously you're kind of oh, but still,
I
don't know.
It doesn't make
speaking
any sense. Yeah.
my language here.
Sorry, I'm returning to teenage girl, but are you saying that it's better that the other person got to live that life of?
No.
Is that what you're trying to say, or no?
I'm saying that, okay, isn't there some natural desire that, all right, you want to see someone earn what they get?
I think we've had this discussion before, and then
pretty exciting.
It got crazy.
You gotta be gotten to this point, up against a wall.
Yeah.
I think, no, but I think I made peace with the idea that Allah's mercy knows no bounds, and I really make sense of that, compared to the Christian theology of there needed to be Jesus Christ to make things equal for all of humanity, and it's God is not bound by anything. So even if this super rich person, whatever, even if a few more of their sins get forgiven, but me would maybe I have less or whatever. If God chooses to forgive me, inshallah, in whatever way He chooses, that's His mercy knows no bounds. I think is what I got out of it, and I sincerely believe no one will be wronged or feel that way.
Okay.
And if you're both going to paradise.
Inshallah, meaning I'm not losing anything.
Yeah.
So suppose you have a horrible tyrant, who's done horrible things.
Gigi's Sunday school teacher, right?
You mean burying their daughter?
Okay, I'm sorry?
You mean burying their daughter?
Saying, even multiple cases, right? And that person becomes Muslim. And so their sins are forgiven.
I don't think that really bothers me though.
Does bother you?
I think that's not, because I feel
Well, they've done terrible things,
Because they became Muslim.
they're gonna look.
I didn't think they have not had the gift of Islam until that point.
Say it again?
They don't have the gift of Islam until that point.
Okay.
So I think it makes sense for them to start at point zero. I think I think the discrepancy is more apparent when you have someone who is actually Muslim, and you don't see that. To be honest.
If they're
Okay, so suppose you have a Muslim who's done horrible things, a'udhu billah, and they seek forgiveness for it, and they're forgiven.
But if they change, then that's fine.
I like
Okay.
that.
Okay? You're saying that's fine.
I think if they change, that's fine.
Okay.
Then
It's hard
it
to
makes
forgive
sense.
them.
They're
Like,
forgiven because they
The,
changed.
the
That's hard.
person who like killed
But
their
we're not. But they didn't wrong
daughters
us.
or
If they
But
didn't-
suppose
if they didn't wrong us,
I'm talking about a guy who has wronged you personally.
Oh,
So
that's
imagine. Okay, we took it another point. Okay, so like you have someone like one of these Arab dictators. You have Hitler, or someone who just wipes out
I was thinking about Hitler.
everybody. Sorry,
I was thinking of Hitler.
Hitler. Okay, yeah. Suppose that person became Muslim, okay. And all their sins are forgiven.
Oh, hypothetically.
Okay.
I don't think that bothers me.
I feel like those things should not be mentioned together.
I don't want to die.
Yes.
If the person's forgiven, that means they went through those 3 steps that you outlined earlier.
Well, if they become Muslim,
Okay.
yeah.
They become Muslim, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
That's-
only in
I
a
have a
conversion
problem with that.
sense?
Right. I'm talking about the conversion sense. Right.
Conversion.
Well, like
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't know
I think
before.
it's great. Actually.
Okay.
as people, we don't have to forgive them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
okay.
get
The
Well,
other
you know
thing,
what it is,
I
if
also
they still have to live with the knowledge that they did all that.
Sure, and that's going back to
Yeah.
I
Omar.
think I would be very.
So,
like,
Omar
that there was
used to
smoke
cry,
and
right?
Yeah.
And his companions asked him, "Why are you crying?" Well, I mean, he used to laugh and he used to cry. So have we talked about those stories? Like, and so they asked him, "Why are you laughing?" He says, "I'm remembering my days of Jahiliyyah, and I used to worship this idol. And one time I was going on a trip, and I forgot to bring my idol with me, so I made my idol out of dates, and then I got hungry. So I ate my idol. I ate my God, right?
Oh dear.
So that's why he used to laugh, but then why he used to cry. And then they asked him, "Why are you crying?" He says, "I think back to my days of Jahiliyyah and I had a daughter." Yeah, you see where it's going. It gets worse. So I loved her so much that I couldn't bury her. Okay? But then as she got older, my obligations to my tradition overtook me, and I had to bury her. And while I'm burying her, she's seeing the dust catching up in my beard, and she reached up to wipe it off while I was burying her. So years after his shahada, he would still think about that with remorse.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, even though, like, you did bad things in the past, and
Yeah.
like, make forgiveness, like, for example, like, the Muslim who, like, made all the sins, it's not like they're, like, gone from your life, you're still, like,
Yeah.
you can still think about
You
them,
still live
it's still, like,
with
haunting.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I think if we say that happiness and security and all this stuff is by becoming a Muslim,
Yeah,
even though we're looking at it from outside in, we're
Mhm.
looking at saying their amazing life, they're rich, they're wealthy, they have
Yeah.
this. But we don't know what the vacuousness,
We don't know what else
and
is
the
going on.
emptiness, and
Yeah.
the sadness and the torture, emotional torture that they went through.
Sure.
Because they may just have a smile on their face.
yeah,
They're not
absolutely.
truly happy until they have the.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
fact that they even became Muslim is, or, you know, repented is a big deal because if you were in that situation, you never know. You
Right.
might become Muslim.
Yeah, like you could be judged.
You know, about a year and a half ago, a guy came in and he was during Ramadan actually, and he was in the army and he took shahada, and it was a happy occasion. All this young guy, maybe I don't know, 19, 20, and took shahada. Everyone embraced him, this and that, and then like things kind of settled down, and he like sat down, and I kind of kept an eye on him, and he was crying. And then he started like crying uncontrollably, like inconsolably. And after a few minutes of like, me and Mike, like, okay, what's going on? Let's talk. And he's like, he was overcome with grief for his past life, like what he had done, like his years of disbelief for this and that, and for his parents. And he's like, what about my parents? What about my parents? What's going to happen to them? And he was inconsolable with grief. So, I mean, this is someone who's a good guy. He didn't even do anything. I don't think he even did anything wrong in his life.
Sure.
But still, I mean, imagine someone who engaged in, but then they had a true awakening. I mean, they have to
Yeah,
live
right.
with that. So,
I mean, there's 2 types of wrong. I think there's wrong that's like universal morality, meaning those lines are being crossed, and then there's just stuff that otherwise is just else has to do it. So I feel like I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of people who are not Muslim can have excellent moral character, maybe better than most Muslims that we know. So I don't know.
I have no idea what you're saying right now.
No, like the fitra. Like
Yeah,
I was
like the
just
fitra,
talking
exactly.
like the fitra. Like where does that play into it? Like because the killing, like that's. I mean
That's not
that.
cool.
Yeah,
It's gotta
that,
fit through.
yeah, like, I mean, that is in your heart. I love places that, like, in your heart that, like, what I'm doing is wrong. You know,
Versus
whatever.
not praying.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't know about
Well, hopefully I'll understand what you're saying a little bit later. But continuing with I had 90. Yeah.
We get each other.
He's been waiting to do that for long. Just like, when can I finally shut this up?
Yeah. So
He's like,
So what are we saying is at the core? That they're selling their souls. Why? Out of envy. So what are we looking at? We're looking at the causes of kufr. We looked at a number of manifestations of kufr. One set of manifestations of kufr was wrong things people do with scripture. Right? That was last week. Another thing we saw last week was, or last time, wrong things people do with their oaths. Okay. Now we're seeing causes. One cause is envy, jealousy. Okay. That leads people to kufr. Another reason prior to this was despair. This leads people to kufr. Another reason prior to that was when you just did not want to face what was good for you. And instead, you hid behind arrogance. The second you hide behind arrogance, it's hard to get out of it. That was the devil's problem. He hid behind arrogance, and that was even the excuse he gave Allah Ta'ala. I'm better than him, to try to justify it. Because what's happening, you're trying to rationalize your misbehavior. So, the kid that I was talking, did I talk about these kids? I feel like I've been. So did I talk about the kids who got expelled here?
Oh yeah, this morning you did.
This morning, yeah. Okay. So these students of mine who got expelled from school. And at first when they were telling me what happened, they got expelled because, and they're all Muslim. They got expelled because they allegedly hacked into the school database and changed grades. But then they kind of, in the course of the conversation, they said, okay, the real reason we got expelled is because we were the chief drug dealers on campus.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hey, this is like
That's really different.
Yeah, completely different. Yeah. Long story, but
Oh, so they were just lying?
so
Is this Loyola?
I won't tell you which school of the many schools I teach at, just because there are people in the community and all that, right? Not to embarrass their parents. So, in the conversation, one of these kids, it was interesting listening to all the things he's saying. He said, at one moment, my hypocrisy got revealed to me. Because what happened? He received an email from school, from the administration saying, okay, you're under investigation for such and such, you have to come to this meeting at this time. Meaning he's gotten caught. And right after that, he received an email from a teacher saying, oh, your paper topic on Islamic philosophy sounds very good. I will be your advisor for this, right?
Oh my God.
So at the same time, he is trying to write these papers about Islam and do da'wah and this and that. He's also doing all this haram stuff. And he said, my hypocrisy got completely exposed to me right at that moment. But then even in the conversation, he started saying to me that, well, higher education is just a big scam. Right? And I was like, okay, that may be well and good, but it has nothing to do with you right now. Your work is cut out for you. But the point is that even then he kept trying to rationalize what he was doing. And this is something for us that's easy to fall into. That when you do something wrong, it's a lot harder to admit you did something wrong than to just blame it on something else.
sure, absolutely.
Right? And so the point is now we're looking at causes of kufr. So they sold their souls out of envy, that Allah Ta'ala will give His grace to whomever He wills. Okay. So what did they get out of it? Ghadab ala ghadab. Anger upon anger. How does that work? I'm responding to Allah out of anger. Allah Ta'ala is responding to me with anger. Okay.
How are they responding to Allah?
You know, why does he get it? I didn't get anything.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Like
Jealousy. That a lot of times people will reject Allah Ta'ala out of jealousy. That's what you guys have been hearing from me a million times. That 100% of the converts to atheism, the issue was never rational arguments. It was always resent. That they're unhappy about something. Walil. Sorry?
You can't be physically hurt. He's indestructible.
Yeah.
It's like someone took a toy or your kid. Yeah. No, it's a manipulative cry.
You didn't say that with a grin.
Yeah.
No. Inshallah, he's
I'm
okay.
like, yeah.
Inshallah, he's okay.
I think the ball hit the ceiling floor.
Suspense.
Just,
That is fine.
just not rationalizing it and accepting, like, so say you're doing something that, or it's either you're doing something wrong or you're refraining from doing something that's, you're not doing the right thing, I guess.
Meaning you're not doing farther, you're doing it
right.
right, yeah.
So whatever it is, if you can say, I know this to be the case and it's true and I believe in it, and I will admit that I'm not doing the right thing, does that open your heart to being, to going to the next level and actually doing the right thing? Or?
Inshallah.
But
As opposed to saying, I'm not doing because it's your fault, right? Because that's what Shaitan says to Allah Ta'ala.
Right.
You made this happen to me. Right.
But what if you never get to that level, though, where...
Some people don't. Some people, I mean,
Like
this
you're
is,
just saying I'm wrong, and I know I'm wrong, and that's the end of it, you know?
some people will hold on to it, you know, I'm innocent, I didn't do anything
So
wrong.
what I'm saying, you're not defending yourself.
Yeah,
And you're saying, I know that I'm wrong, this is a weakness within me. What if you're just locked in that phase?
then
That's still better than...
it's better than the other one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So at the end of this, وَلِلْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابٌ مُهِينٌ. And for the kafirs, there is a disgraceful punishment. So, what are we looking at this section? Causes and manifestations of kufr. Last time we were looking at some manifestations, and now we've seen some causes. And there's such simple causes. You don't want to face something, so you run away. You hide with arrogance, and then with accusing it of being a lie, or with even violence. You get, what was the next one? Oh, before that, then after that you have despair, and then after that you have envy. These are all very simple traits, right, that lead to kufr. Having them is not automatically a sign of kufr, because these are natural human traits.
Can you
What is it?
define kufr?
Kufr is rejection.
Just
You
rejection.
know what it is.
Rejection of God.
Rejection of God?
Yeah.
Faith.
I mean, by extension, rejection of God or rejection of anything God says you have to believe in.
So if somebody says that I'm not supposed to pray, that's cool.
If they say,
I'm not supposed to.
if they say Maghrib prayer is optional, kufr. So
Wow.
Just arrogant.
I've been in the company of people who've said exactly those things. They'll say, God doesn't need your prayers, you know. It's just, you know, something you should do, right?
Do you think there's hope for that person?
Inshallah.
Hope for everyone.
So how do you? So what are the steps to get there?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes in our environment,
Because I mean, at UFC, dude, we have good Muslims, man. I mean, like come from good Muslim families, but they think they're so brilliant
yeah,
that they find these ways of saying, you know,
yeah.
that religion is just to create, like just
Yeah.
like the Marx thing, you know.
Yeah, sometimes what you need is someone who doesn't get outwitted by them, and who can respond back bluntly.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you have to
Or
give
they
up.
might just need to solve and they don't need prayers.
I mean, because
I think that's a lack of humility. Like I think
It
you know,
is,
to
it
say
is.
that your intellect is above the
Oh.
like Allah says. I was having this argument for like 5 hours with someone the other day, and that's why.
you know, that just doesn't surprise me. But keep on, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just like the same thing over and over
There's
again.
no arguing with
Well,
you would-
people who are.
It's, I mean, it's
that-
crazy to me.
No,
Like,
it's-
I just feel like
you-
for somebody who's so logical, how can you say this? And it's like, well, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said 4 wives, then if I could financially afford 6, why not? So why is that wrong? And why is it 5 prayers? Why can't I pray all day long in my heart? I mean, what do you? How do
Yeah,
you-
I've had students
what
like
do
that.
do with
You know, in one class.
You know? I don't know. What
I was
to do
going to
with
say
that.
deeper than that is, and this is what keeps quite a few people away from going in that, is just because these are the commandments relayed, given to us by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Yeah.
And so if you say that, okay, yeah, Maghrib's not really mandatory, it's optional, the response is, okay, so you're saying that the Prophet lied then.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
You're saying the Prophet Muhammad is a lie, you're rejecting what he's saying.
That's the logic.
So kufr is not just, it's rejecting the Prophet.
Exactly.
And that's like, that carries a lot more weight, I think, for a lot of people.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, I mean, yeah, I'll have those 20-year-olds who think that they're just, you know, intellectual, you know, philosophical geniuses, and then you just
But
throw
you
it
know what
back
that
at them.
makes me
Yeah.
think about it is that I think our theme is actually pretty logical. Like you can use
Yeah.
that logic, right? So I feel like that intelligent person, their logic actually very embarrassingly breaks down.
Yeah.
Where they have to like say repetitive things that don't make sense.
I had that conversation. This is actually kind of funny with a student last night. That why should I believe in this and that? I live the way I want. No one can tell me what to do. I'm not afraid of anything. And so I told her, like, remember what the weather was like yesterday? I said, okay, why don't you go outside and I said, why don't you go outside dressed like an elf? She's like, yeah, I'll do it. I go, do it then. She said, I'll do it absolutely. I told her, go out dressed like an elf and wear just one shoe. Okay, something nonsense. Put a feather in your hat. She says, yeah, I'll do it. I go, do it then. And then she's like, no, it's cold. I go, well then, you have just proven me right.
Why did you say that?
Wait, what
Because she was trying to show me that she doesn't need belief, because she's so tough, and she can do whatever she wants, and she's not afraid of embarrassment or anything. So then I gave her a bizarro scenario. And then and then to defend herself, she said, one time someone told me, to dress in my onesie to some party. And I said, okay, you already told me I have a onesie. That's embarrassing enough. But I told her, why don't you put your onesie on and go walk outside with one shoe, dressed like an elf. And then she's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, no, you're not. Yeah, keep trying. We go into just the absurd things and no one has responses for that.
You sure we can fit in with George Costanza? I mean,
Yeah, I think half my students are George Costanza.
These are college students. This is the future. This is our future of this nation.
Okay, so next time, inshallah, we're gonna have the big reasons of the big causes of kufr. These are actually the small ones: jealousy, despair, and then just hiding behind arrogance and such.
When you say the heart wrapped up, when we were talking about that,
Yeah.
I mean, like, so they're basically they're rejecting what's inside.
So they're using this as an excuse, saying, "I'm just so wrapped up in kufr, I have no way out."
Despair.
Yeah.
They're helpless.
Yeah.
Would your advice to commoners like us be the principle of the Quran that Alu Salama for people when foolish address you?
Yeah.
Talking about engaging these silly people who think that they're too smart.
You're pointing like that, right? You don't want to see these silly people. That's all. Not intentionally, I know it was funny. We saw.
Talking to.
Nadia's like, I've seen this before. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
these really zippy
Yes.
people.
Yes.
The Quran teaches us to do when the foolish address you.
Salam.
Alu Salama. For people like us, okay, you're in a position where you can engage them, overcome them, possibly with your rational arguments. But for people like us, would your advice be to just stay away from these discussions?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Yeah, I would suggest.
You know
Or refer them to someone else.
Yeah, because when you engage them, the Quran is saying, say, Alu Salama, just move on. Don't engage them.
There's a statement attributed to Ali radiallahu anh that I can out-argue a scholar, I cannot out-argue a fool.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Wow, that's a
Islam
profound
also said that-
statement. I'm gonna write that one down.
Isa Islam also said
Ali's amazing.
something
SubhanAllah.
about the stupid,
Yeah.
What was it saying?
I don't remember.
That it's like, like engaging the stupid is like,
Yeah.
it's like very hard. You
Yeah.
can't really work with the stupid. You can deal with the intelligent, but the stupid,
There are
difficult.
the challenge is to figure out, are they really seeking, right? If they're seeking an answer, then if you refer them to someone, they're going to go, right? Unless they get too embarrassed. If they just want to prove that they're right, then indulge them as long as you want to say salam.
Yeah, it was save me from the stupid.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, in my case, I'll have some of those people who they just, after a while, they just,
They're not trying to enhance their
yeah,
understanding.
yeah. And then I decide, okay, do I want to enjoy myself, like I did with this conversation yesterday, right? Or, do I want to move on? Sometimes they tell me, I got to run, I appreciate it, but I can't help you. Sometimes you'll see evangelicals who do this, right? They come to you acting like they want to learn about Islam. And they will waste your time for like 3 hours. Okay. And you can tell by some of the things they say, like if you throw out some names to them, like Bart Ehrman, okay, who basically dismantled like the whole history of the Bible. You know, like this one case, this happened with a student of mine who put me on conference call to listen to it, right? And he would say, how do I know to follow the Quran and not the Bible? And he'd make this like long explanation, because we have history, and how do I know to follow history? So then I text my student, you know, ask him what he thinks of Bart Ehrman. Okay. And then so he says, what do you think about Bart Ehrman as a historian? And then this guy kept calling him Bart Earham, right? And then I text my student, okay, this guy's an evangelical. He's pretending to be someone who's looking for guidance. But out of that one possibility that he's looking for guidance and we're misdiagnosing him, he listened to him for literally like 2 hours, 3 hours.
But you know what I think is really sad about that is because I feel that there are people, like you can think of a scenario where you have somebody who knows the truth, you know, but they continue to wreak havoc across the land, you know? So they are actually Muslim, but their actions are evil. I mean, I'm passing judgment
Think of
on
Shaitan as a scholar.
yeah, so exactly. But then you can have that person whose nature and their fitness is very, they wouldn't hurt a fly, they would be honest, they would be truthful. But you know what it is? They don't want to accept the idea that, you know, my intellect cannot understand something, so I will not obey something. So it's insecurity or arrogance or zid, you know? Yeah. But I feel like that is not as, to me it's not, I feel like that person still has hope.
That person is probably not as bad as the person with knowledge who's wreaking havoc.
To me, I feel like that's farther, good or bad, I would say they're farther from us. I feel like this person is maybe closer.
Perhaps, yeah.
Their nature is better.
Oh, this was, yeah. Okay, any last questions or thoughts? All right, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك